right. What is going on, you cool cats and kittens? Welcome back to Lunch Table Sports. I am Big Tice, joined as always by my esteemed colleagues in business, Trev, Saya, Dimaj, Bush, and Dilly. How we doing, boys?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Lovely.
Dimaj, you say you're doing lovely, but I don't buy it because the Celtics lost the NBA Finals in 6 games to the Golden State Warriors. And in Boston,
As predicted.
as predicted, in heartbreaking fashion. Give me your thoughts briefly on how you're feeling directly after the game and how you're feeling now about 3 days removed.
After the game, pissed, sad. I'm tired of rooting for teams that constantly lose. It's fine. I am a fan of losers apparently, but after the game, sick. But now I'm sitting here and there's a lot like to take in. Obviously, I mean, yes, the Celtics were young. It was the first time for basically every single one. It was the first time for all of them. I mean, it's a very young team, and I think the finals run kind of gives a look into how Tatum's just not there yet. I think Tatum has the opportunity to be that guy. He is, I think, recognized in the league at minimum a top 10 player. Like, he is up there, but the debate about him being top 5, I think, should definitely be slowed down after the finals run. Playoffs, he still played really well, but in that big moment, it was kind of similar. And I know Curry is a whole nother league of player, obviously, but in Curry's first final run, yes, they won, but when you let Andre Iguodala win the finals MVP that year, even though you are the best player on your team, doesn't always mean you're going to be that best player in that moment. So Jason Tatum obviously wasn't the best player. I think we can all agree Jaylen Brown was the best player in the finals. Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Tatum is still the best player on that team when you look at how they all contributed throughout the playoffs, regular season, roles of leadership, different things like that. Tatum's that guy. I still just think he needs time to grow, and I think he can easily be a top 5 player at the end of all of this. So yes, the Celtics lost, but there was a lot of takeaways from it. So
that 2015 Steph Curry's first finals, that's a good comparison because the Warriors did win that series, but Steph was the MVP that year, and he was really hot like the whole playoff runs, and then he got to the finals, and I think his 3-point percentage dropped from like 41, 42 in the regular season down to like the low 30s. So I mean, the finals is definitely that big moment. I mean, I'm trying to think last year. I think Devin Booker had like 1 or 2 quiet games there in the finals where he really struggled.
Triple-double in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. And that moment will get to you. I mean, it's clear to see LeBron James. There's a comparison to Jason Tatum's stats in his first finals to LeBron in 08 or 07, whenever it was. And
garbage ass.
Yeah,
same with
very
that one
similar
with
stats,
Kobe.
just kind of low efficiency, low shooting percentage, but
everything else.
I think
Jason
the
Tatum
one comparison.
Jason Tatum and Kobe Bryant have the same field goal percentage in their first career finals at 37.6.
And I think the funny thing is, like, a lot of people are looking at those. A lot of people are looking at these different like percentages of like first final runs and different things like that. Yes, like you want to compare them to like maybe like with how they compared in those situations. Maybe Tatum can be a great player in those same rights, but at the same time, you can't compare those runs at all. Like, I'm a Celtics fan, but Bron carried a team that absolutely had nothing on it and also was playing in a completely different league. Field goal percentages and threes were not as recognized at that point. LeBron also has never been a 3-point shooter. He's never been like one to take it from 3 and take over a game from 3. And later in his career, we've seen he's better at that. But I think when we're looking at Kobe's first, LeBron's first, yes, you want to compare it, but it's not. Tatum's not at that level. I don't think you can even say that they're at that level. Tatum's an elite player, but he's not recognized as maybe the best player in the league. LeBron was recognized as maybe the best player in the league at that point. Kobe was recognized as maybe the best player in the league, and they're playing at the same time. So like,
yeah, we got to stop comparing Jason Tatum to positional goats, basketball goats. He's a great player, but the people that we're comparing to are an entire step above. And like I said before, this just the fact of pure experience by the Warriors was demonstrated. You know, they did not get rattled. Besides the blowout loss in game 2, and they're still unbeaten. The Warriors are unbeaten when they start Clay, Curry, and Dre in a playoff series in general.
Yeah, I was gonna going back to Jason Tatum real quick. I was gonna say I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet. This is facts. I think we can all agree on this. Jason Tatum was a great basketball player, but he had an awful finals performance. So I think that's just like something that we can all like, I guess, for DiMaggio we can build upon, you know. But like great players are great players, obviously, but sometimes that, like you're talking about, Tice, that light shines too bright for them sometimes, and you know, you just can't fulfill, you know, your dreams about it.
On the bright side for the Celtics, though, now you know what it takes. You know the type of dedication, type of hard work that it's going to take to repeat a finals run as magical as that. So for the years forward, the Celtics are going to be looked at as the top team in the East, just as they have been since Tatum and Brown have been paired together there.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And with the Celtics, I mean, you hit it right on the nail. The Celtics can only get better. I mean, Tatum still, I don't think, has reached his top form. Jaylen Brown definitely hasn't. We see him get better literally every series in the playoffs and every regular season. And those are the two players you're going to build around. I think Marcus Smart's a solid player, defensive player of the year. I know how a lot of you guys feel about him.
D-boy.
But there's a lot of different things. Robert Williams also wasn't playing at 100%. And I think we can all agree that I think he can be one of the best, if not the best defensive player in the league. He can easily win a defensive player of the year at some point in his career if he stays healthy. And that's the main issue right now, is him staying healthy. The Celtics have a lot of components that in future, I don't even want to say next year, because next year I think they could, but I think in the next 2-3 years, we will be seeing them as a champion at some point. On the Celtics.
But yeah, I mean, like coming, I guess, for like a big man's perspective, I guess we can all talk about like knee injuries are like a thing that like have always plagued a bigger individual. And so like, hopefully it doesn't like plague his career, you know, how it's just like, it's just never going to get better. But I mean, there's always a chance of it because of, you know, it's a bigger body. It's more weight on the body. It's more stress on the knee. So hopefully it just never gets to that point.
Time will tell.
Oh yeah. Well, with the finals in the book now, obviously Steph Curry got his first finals MVP, which is really reignited. It's reignited the debate of the best point guard of all time. And obviously Curry has gotten just that much closer to Magic Johnson, and some are saying he's even surpassed Magic Johnson at this point. So I want to get all of your guys' opinion on this just real quick. I'm going to read you some stats right here, and then I just want to hear from each of you who you are taking right now as your GOAT point guard and why. So we got Curry and Magic. We'll start with championships. Curry now has 4, obviously, Magic with 5. Finals MVPs, Curry 1, Magic 3. Regular season MVPs, Curry 2, Magic 3. All-star appearances, Curry 8 and counting, Magic 12. All of Curry's are still counting, obviously.
Of course.
First team All-NBAs, Curry 4, Magic 9. All-star game MVPs, Curry 1, Magic 2. Scoring titles, Curry 2, Magic 0. Assist titles, Curry 0, Magic 4. And steal titles, Curry 1, Magic 2. Those are just all the stats that really jumped out to me as like the important ones. So
I'll kick this off. So obviously, like in the group chat, I was like, oh yeah, I think this, you know, solidifies Curry as my GOAT point guard. And so here's the thing. I think because of how the game's changed so much, where it's extremely offensive minded, and for some reason, nobody really cares about how well a point guard passes the ball anymore. The points per game kind of like is more amplified in today's game than it ever was. And so I think in today's game, yes, I think you can consider Curry the GOAT point guard because it's, you know, it's a position, but like we always talk about, basketball is kind of positionless now.
Right.
Now, but if you want to talk about pure point guard and playmaking abilities, I think I'm still going to take Magic because of the fact that he facilitated better. He was a bigger body. I mean, I think we all know that, but he's a bigger body, and so he's doing all that, being taller, probably weighing more, and I guess we can all strictly say it was a more physical game of basketball back then.
Oh yeah.
So I guess as my GOAT point guard, like actual point guard, I think it's Magic still. But if we talk about just positionless basketball, I think definitely Curry is the GOAT point guard.
I think the irony in that is that, like, I feel like Magic was like kind of the first true positionless player.
Mhm.
I mean, a 6'9" point guard,
Yeah.
played center
Right.
in his first finals, but yeah, no, you know, I'll go last. Si, what you got?
Okay, yeah, pretty much big going off of what you're saying. I agree in the fact that Magic is the best true one, being able to raise the floor of a team. And with that, he was also the first point guard to be able to defend 1 through 5. That's a big notch that you have to add on Magic's legacy, Magic's career resume. So with that, I'm still taking Magic as my GOAT point guard, strictly due to the fact that he was almost uncertainly the first positionless basketball player at such high level and at such high degree, doing it for a long time, winning multiple championships, finals MVPs. He did, like I said, he raised the floor of a team overall that in today's game, point guards aren't necessarily doing.
And granted, back then he was by far the best player in the league. Like I don't think there was any competition back then. Granted, you know, we had Wilt still back then. Bill Russell, I believe, was done by then, correct? Yeah. So then,
Yeah, Bird.
Bird, but I think
Larry and Magic.
Yeah, and
It literally was.
Maybe Dr. J
Yeah.
for like the first half, but yeah.
But I think in Magic's prime, I think you can arguably say that he was the best player on the floor in every game he played in.
I still think it would be unfair to Magic to say Curry's better, but I would also think it's unfair to tell Curry that he couldn't be better because he's still not done with his career. Right?
Yeah.
And they're very different, honestly.
So different. So different.
Even though they play the same position, they're very different. Like Curry is obviously the greatest shooter of all time. Magic, biggest point guard, very good defender, very good facilitator, all that. But yeah, I think before we should come back to this, once Curry wraps up his career, once Curry
He's all said
adds
and
to
done.
those stats.
Which I'm gonna assume we'll definitely see him in the finals again, probably.
Probably.
Hoisting that trophy again at least one more time before. he's
Right.
done.
Probably.
So right now, I
He's only
think
what,
I
like
think
34?
the only right answer would be Magic.
He's 34?
And then once Curry wraps up
Yeah.
his career, we can come back to it.
Dilly, you want to go real quick?
Yeah, I was just gonna say Curry. I just looked it up. He's 34, and
Mhm.
if you look, I mean, Chris Paul's 37, and look at Chris Paul now. I mean, we could say that again, you know, but you know that both of them are also very different as well. So
Yeah, they are.
you know,
Chris Paul plays.
I mean, Chris Paul's
crazy.
kind of like a more of a Magic type point guard, you know, all around, you know, playmaker, you know, assist machine and all that. Where Curry is still, you know, that sharpshooter, you know, deep ball threat. So it's really a toss up. I agree with Bush. Like you got to go with the all around best point guard. And it's Magic. Obviously, yes, you know, Curry will be in the finals again for sure, and I'm sure he'll be an all-star in, you know, every single year for the rest of his career. So it'll be a tougher debate, you know, at the end of it, like we said. But yeah, I'm going with Magic.
Before you guys keep going on this, you know, you obviously got to give a nod to John Stockton also as one of the greatest point guards of all time. I think so, because just I don't think he's in the conversation for top 2 anymore. But obviously you do have. I don't know about that. I mean, I guess it's fair. But you still got to give a nod to his accomplishments. So.
Oh yeah.
You want to go last, right, Tice? I think Magic, when you look at everything, is easily the better one. I don't think there's a debate. When you beat him in every single accolade category. I understand that, but accolades like rings, MVPs, finals MVPs, all across the board beats him. I think the reason why people are talking about Curry as maybe being the better one is because of the revolutionary 3-point style of basketball. Curry's basically the one that invented it. Like, it was around, but nobody used it as much as he did. But with that in consideration, I think you could also make the same case for Magic being a revolutionary point guard as well. So when you take both of them being revolutionary at their position with how flashy Magic was, how great defensively across all 5 positions, being what you guys said, maybe being even the first positionless point guard player, Magic's better all across the board. He's basically shown that he was the reason for the Lakers turnaround. The Lakers were a bad team for many years. The Lakers finally started winning. The Lakers turned into one of the best franchises because of him. Their glory fell basically because of him. It fell on his shoulders to create that. And Magic created Magic. So at that point, as soon as he stepped through the door, you saw the shine, you saw the light. Magic brought that energy. And so I think Magic is that guy, and he probably will be. I'm not trying to say Curry's not going to be better at the end of his career. I just think unless he does a lot more, Magic will still be seen as that guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I gotta say Magic too. And like all of you guys said, the accolades, every major category he's leading in. But when it's all said and done, I guarantee you that these are the 2 guys that we're going to talk about who possibly just overall have changed the game of basketball the most. I mean, you look at a pre-Magic Johnson NBA, and it was very slow and set up, and the whole shot clock was used, and it was a lot of out of the post, and Magic Johnson basically introduced speed to the game and running the break and finding these crazy passes and doing all that.
Yeah.
And then flash forward to the 2000s and a pre-Steph Curry NBA, the 3-point shot was still utilized, but I mean, if a guy was averaging 6 attempts from downtown per game, that was considered a lot. And everything just operated out of the mid-range and the high block. And then once Steph Curry came in, he pretty much introduced space, if you will, to the modern game, and introduced this new wave of players like Trae Young and Luka to come in and be these ball dominant, high volume shooting one guards. So both of them are incredibly revolutionary players, but right now you still got to give it to Magic. But I wouldn't be mad at anybody if they had both of these guys on their NBA Mount Rushmore.
If you had them at 1A, 1B, wherever you want to slot them, honestly, I could see your argument for either. Honestly.
Quick. You mentioned an NBA Mount Rushmore. Who is on your Mount Rushmore? Because personally, when I think of the NBA Mount Rushmore, it being either 4 or 5 people to say, the way I think about it is, can the story of the NBA be told with or without those guys?
All right. I think Jordan and LeBron are obvious, kind of given. And then
1A, 1B if you want to.
Shoot, it's hard to not put a big man on there, but Curry and Magic, that, those 4 guys right there. I mean, you got the 2 undisputed GOATs and the 2 guys who I think have changed the game the most.
Yep. And then Dilly, you just talked about Shaq. Granted, dude was a monster, and he was I think he's arguably the most dominant player I've ever seen play the game of basketball. But I think you can tell the story of the NBA without Shaq, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like Tice was saying, those 4 guys, you have, no matter who you're going for, 1A, 1B, Jordan and LeBron. And then you have, again, Magic and Curry being the guys who revolutionized the game of basketball we see now. So I think those four have to be the Mount Rushmore.
It's just tough to put a big man up there because a big man has been prevalent in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's just not a flashy position.
Yeah, granted, Shaq played it the best, but he didn't play it any different or change it.
I feel like and this is not me saying he is on this list. If there was one big man that I was going to put on the Mount Rushmore, it'd be Kareem.
Yeah.
It would be Kareem, no doubt about it. Not even just because of basketball, but because what he did outside of basketball. Kareem is a Mount Rushmore person, honestly, individual. And Skyhook, all of it, he was, I think easily we would not be talking about Magic in the same light as we would if Kareem was also not on that team. So I think, yes, like it's hard to put a big man on there, but personally, I could, and this is no shade at LeBron, because I think LeBron is a great player. If there was a player that I would take off that Mount Rushmore just because of revolutionizing the game and creating those, like, they are iconic figures, I'd take LeBron out and put Kareem. And that's no shade at LeBron. He's easily one of the greatest, if not greatest player of all time. But revolutionary wise, I don't think he is.
Because you got the Jordan fadeaway, which is bad. You have the Kareem hook shot. You have Magic pushing the pace and being the true position.
And Curry revolutionarying the 3-point line. So, like, yes, like I get it. But when talking about Mount Rushmore, I think there's so many like things you need to talk about, like impact on the game, impact outside of the game, and impact just to their team as an individual.
Okay, I'll have to ask the question: who has also impacted the game outside of basketball more than LeBron has?
Mhm.
So, like, again, going back to, can you tell the story of the NBA with these 4 or 5 players? I think Jordan, LeBron. And personally, if I'm putting a big up there, I'm putting Tim Duncan up there because he ran the West in the early 2000s with the great Spurs dynasty, and it's part of NBA history that they were so dominant and beating all of these teams, and it was because of him.
I mean, that's true. But you could also say that if you're going to look in that same light, you could also talk about Bill Russell. That's not me being a Celtics fan, but he ran that era, and he was the one that revolutionized, honestly, basketball at that point, because there wasn't a player like him, and that's the reason why they won so many games at that point in basketball's timeline.
Bigger, faster, stronger, jumped higher than every single.
So yeah, I agree. Tim Duncan's revolutionary, but I feel like
I think we're using this term revolutionary a little light.
Yeah.
I don't think all of these players aren't necessarily revolutionary. Those I think that word's got to be reserved for the players that are above basketball.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's why I think Kareem is revolutionary.
That's why it's so hard to put a big, like if you're talking about a Mount Rushmore and guys who like have changed the game, it's hard to put a big up there because I feel like up until the last like 5 to 7 years, the recipe for a big has been so wash, rinse, repeat.
Just dominate the low post, dominate the paint.
You dominate the low block, you play outstanding interior defense, and you get rebounds. Like, and there's so many guys who have dominated that
and done that well.
Hakeem, Wilt, Kareem, Bill Russell, Shaq, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. I feel like if we're talking about a big man who really kind of like started to change the shape of the mold, it's Dirk.
Yeah,
I would honestly, that's the name that came to mind.
And
honestly,
and taking that one step further, because we talk about that last 5 to 7 years where kind of that traditional center has faded away. I'm not saying he's there yet, but with the start of his career he's off to and the things that he's done, Jokic is on his way to being a Mount Rushmore player because he has absolutely turned like the old mold of a center on its head. I mean, he's a ball handler. He averages triple doubles basically. I mean, he averages 30 a game.
He can shoot anywhere from the court.
I mean, he is definitely on his way to being a Curry Magic type of like game
center
shifter. You know,
and dude's like 7'1".
The point big.
Mm-hmm. True positionless basketball right there, man. I'll tell you what.
Because like honestly, like when he first came in the league, he was slow. But then with him losing all that weight, he plays so much
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
So
And like even him playing faster now is still like pretty slow, but he's almost got that Luka effect. Where, like no matter how slow he does it, it's just such a bag.
You
Like
can't pick up. Yeah, you can't pick up his pace or slow down his pace. He's gonna do
plays
what
at
he
his
wants
pace.
exactly.
and get to where he wants on the floor.
Literally.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Well, shoot. Speaking of the NBA, the draft is this week. When you viewers are seeing this, we'll be one day away from the 2022 NBA draft. Maybe one of these teams will find their next Jokic or Dirk or mold shifter type player. But we've got a little bit of we've all picked a team, and we're just going to talk about a prospect who we see as a good fit and a potential like landing spot for that team. And I'll kick it off. I am looking at the Pistons here, picking at 5, and a guy who I think really fits their offense, or not just their offense, their team in general, is Keegan Murray out of Iowa. I'm a big fan of that dude's versatility and scoring ability. And with an uncertain future of Jeremy Grant, I think that's a great guy to slot in and kind of fill that role.
absolutely.
Right.
I'm just taking the first overall pick, the Magic. Give me Chet, because honestly, he could run the 4 or the 5 depending on if you want to bring back Mo Bamba or not. Honestly,
I mean, even then, the Magic also have Wendell Carter, who
that too.
had a pretty good season after getting traded.
You can even play. Never mind.
So yeah, it's pretty. I think it should be pretty simple for them.
Talking about one of the most polarizing teams in the NBA due to what they do on the court and off the court, the Hornets. Really, the Hornets really have a chance to do something special with their draft class because you've got LaMelo Ball, you got Miles Bridges, you got Gordon Hayward. You still like they've got a ton of scores. Now, what I think that they need to do in the draft they have like picks. It's like 15 and 17 or 16 and 18, but they've got 2 picks in the mid-first round that could really be used on some great wing defenders. And the wing defender that I think they really need to pick up is Jeremy Sohan out of Baylor. He's an absolute defensive utility knife, playing the 4, can run the small ball 5, and he's got outstanding athleticism, which is something that pairs well with LaMelo's outstanding playmaking ability.
No, I love that. I decided to go with the Thunder. When looking at the Thunder, they're one of those teams that honestly, with both of their lottery picks and just their picks in general and what they have in what they can do in free agency, if Chet isn't off the board, if Chet's still on the board at 2, easily the best fit for him is with the Thunder. I feel like you pair him with Shai. They want to run an offense that is very similar to nowadays, where all 5 positions can shoot from 3 and play basically all across the court. If not, I still love Paulo going there from Duke. Honestly, the one knock on his game is his 3-pointer. But if he can develop that, he is honestly, I think he has easily the highest floor. I know Chet is amazing offensively and is a great rim protector, but he is a scary developmental just because of his weight. And I know players, we were talking about this before the podcast, similar to how Giannis was putting on so many pounds. Chet can do the same and be an elite player for years to come. But if Chet's off the board, Paulo can just go crazy, I feel like, with the Thunder. Pairing him with Shai, that pick and roll would be disgusting.
All right. Well, to end, Dilly hasn't done his, I guess. So for my pick, I chose the Blazers. And so seeing that Dame is just a very, very loyal man to Portland for some reason why, I don't understand. But I think that with the 7th pick, I guess, something that I've seen a lot of mock draft is seeing Benedict going there. And I honestly think it would work really well since CJ McCollum left the Blazers. Dame really hasn't had another like right-hand man, in my opinion. And exactly. And so we saw CJ kind of fizzle out those playoffs, and Dame kind of just had to put everything on his back when they were last there. And I think Benedict can be that 1-2 punch that Dame really, really needs. I think Benedict's a great player. Like I said, I didn't really watch a ton of college basketball, but every single time that U of A was playing, I had to tune in. That guy's a monster, and I think that again that'll help out the Blazers a ton. And if they were to re-sign Nurkic, I think that could be even better for the team, because I honestly like Nurkic a lot. I think he's a stud, and so letting him walk would just be a terrible mistake for the Blazers, as they've already made a bunch recently. So signing Benedict would be fantastic for that team.
Dilly.
So I have the Spurs, and I guess you could argue they can go with a big man here, but actually have them going with the shooting forward as well. I guess you could say he can go to the Kings. You could say he can go to the Blazers. Because my pick's also Benny as well, going to the Spurs. I think the Spurs getting rid of Derek White really opens the door for Benny to come right in, take that starting job, give Jacob Portal another chance as a big man. And I think I don't know. I don't really like Benedict Mathurin in Sacramento really, or Portland as much as I do with the Spurs.
Sacramento is where draft picks go to die. So
Right.
I really want to see him do good. But it's just.
Has anybody heard a literal peep of Davion Mitchell in the last year? Ever since he went to Sacramento?
Bro, what about
Nope.
the kid from Miami, the one with the hair, Walker?
Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, he's on the Spurs too.
Yeah,
He's on the Spurs
I haven't
too.
heard anything about him since he went to the Spurs.
He doesn't start.
Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie could have been so nice.
Lonnie's still a dog, though.
And Dilly, great topic on going to the Spurs. I actually think
He was in
that
the DeMarcus Cousins trade.
I actually think that trading Derek White opened the door for Lonnie Walker to get the starting position, because he's been on the bench for a couple years now, and he's shown that he could be a great scorer, and is also a great defender. Just like that's what Popovich steals in San Antonio. So.
What about Murray?
DeJounte is the one.
He's a dog.
Lonnie's the two.
I think Lonnie could honestly, with the departure, could not as high, could have a similar effect as Jalen Brown. Not
Interesting.
gonna lie.
I like Lonnie.
I think Lonnie coming out of college was going to be disgusting. He just needed time to develop. He just needed a little bit of
Yeah,
time.
and I mean,
He's very explosive.
they also the Spurs also took the youngest draftee last year in Josh Primo. So they've got guard depth, which they could add to by possibly taking Benedict Mathurin.
All right. Well, we're gonna skip over free agency for now. We kind of touched on it a little bit last week. We got to speed this up because Dilly's a little limited on time. So we are gonna hop right in to the segment that is sweeping the globe 1 week at a time. The hottest shit in the field, the lunch table top 10. Dilly, you are
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir.
is,
All right.
Dilly, you got the top 10 this week. Take it away, brother.
Okay. Installment number 5 out of 6 so far of top 10. This week we got touchdown celebrations.
Okay.
Starting off with an honorable mention, it was a hit song and dance move back in the middle school days. Odell Beckham's rookie year. Odell would kill the whip all the time. Odell was the shit at doing the whip back in the day. So we'll kick it off with that. Coming in at number 10. A little Steelers action, Juju and Le'Veon Bell playing a little hide and seek action.
Yes.
Bringing back some childhood games with your friends. What a better place than play hide and seek in the end zone in an NFL stadium, right? We got another little kid game growing up, bringing back memories. Minnesota Vikings, little Duck Duck Goose.
Yeah, I fucked with that one. I like that one.
That Duck Duck Goose. That Vikings receiving core was nasty with the celebrations, which brings me to another Viking celebration, the limbo. They're using Stephon Diggs, using Stephon Diggs as the pole,
Limbo pole.
Dalvin Cook, or Adam Thielen actually. Dalvin Cook, Stephon Diggs went under. They even had a big man go under that.
That first season after they
Yeah.
lightened up the celebration rules,
yeah.
players were
Right.
wilding out, bro.
Yeah.
Doing
Which
the
brings me
most.
to another one at number 7, Seattle Seahawks doing a little bye from the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, that
The
was
disrespect, doing it in an opponent's stadium and waving bye to the fans after the game sealing touchdown. I mean, that's savage, right? Number six, kicking it back to, I believe, 80s, 90s. I don't know, back when celebrating was the shit. Joe Horn bringing out the flip phone from under the goalpost. Calling his agent, telling him, bring me my fucking money. Now we're getting in the top 5. Just like the whip, but of today, everybody's doing it. Pop Warner kids are doing it. High schoolers are doing it. Started by the one and only Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, the Gritty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Gritty is
Yeah, the
sweeping
Gritty
the
swept the nation.
nation right now.
They even got that dude
Yeah.
Mac Jones doing the Gritty in the Pro
Yeah.
Bowl, bro.
Tyrann Mathieu's son doing the Gritty.
He was better than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yup.
He hit that Gritty way too hard.
So hard. Yes. Coming in number 4, we got probably, in my opinion, the third most savage player to ever play the game, and the top 2 are on here as well. So coming in number 4, Terrell Owens with the crispiest mime moves I've ever seen. The little rope and the little slide, dude. That was so clean, bro. That was so clean. Unbelievable. Coming into number 3, another Terrell Owens pulling out the Sharpie from the socks, signing the touchdown ball and giving it to a fan.
Yeah.
Come
Terrell
on.
Owens.
Like, who would have thought of that? Like, hey, I'm going to score a touchdown and sign a ball and give it to a fan. Like, come on now. Number 2, Teisty. Randy Moss mooning the Green Bay fans.
That is a
Shut him up real
disgusting
quick.
act by Randy Moss.
I'm sorry we had to play that on air because that is just disgusting. That was brilliant. Number one of this week's top 10. This one as well had everybody doing it. This guy on draft day was talking that shit right off the bat. Scoring touchdowns against his old teams. Best cornerback to ever play the game. Prime time high step.
Yeah. I fuck with that one.
The high step is an iconic NFL
Yes.
history moment.
That's the only celebration that you start like before you fucking actually score.
Yeah, exactly.
I got 2 honorable mentions here.
Yes.
One of them's hella disrespectful, and one of them's just flat out stupid. I'll go with the flat out stupid one first. Is AB jumping and trying to cradle. that must. That shit is hilarious. But like, tell me that must have hurt, man.
Yeah, especially because the Steelers were up like 30. Was after like a punt return, he just
For no reason, just and then I got the iconic TO. Actually, I got 2 TO ones, I guess. Is that popcorn when he poured it through his, and then the iconic stand on the star, put the ball down and just stood with his hands out. Yeah, then he got beat up, but oh yeah.
I got you with an honorable mention. A little William Gay bobble walk.
Yeah. He got flagged like 10 times.
Yeah, it was before like the whole celebration rules. He was celebrating for like a whole like 5 minutes.
Rams would have been kicked out today easily.
I got a little bit of bias here, but there are 2 iconic celebrations that we got to mention here. First of all, one that was started by recent Hall of Famer Leroy Butler that has been emulated by almost every stadium that's got like an accessible deck, the Lambeau Leap. Absolutely iconic. And then another homer pick here, I guess, is Aaron Rodgers breaking out the belt only on rushing touchdowns.
State Farm, baby.
That double check. Another one though had a similar kind of run that the Whip did when Odell was doing it. Cam Newton's MVP season, bro. The Superman and the dab too. Cam had everything popping that year. I remember
it's not really a touchdown celebration, but the Ray Lewis.
Oh, his little intro, the little fire ass intro. Before Dimanche gets in here, I'm gonna little known fact. I did indeed go as that dude from State Farm commercials with the cheese head 1 year. And I was like, hey, Rodgers, discount double check.
Dimanche, before you go, I'll catch your boys.
Dilly, if you leave, is it gonna end it?
No, you're recording, right? I'll just have to leave.
You're the host.
Well, I'll just leave a recording then, and you guys just end it whenever.
All right, sounds good. All
So
right,
just text me when you guys end it, and then I'll come.
Bet.
All right, sounds good.
All right, later, boys.
Much love, Dilly.
You guys.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Well, there was one moment that I wanted to talk about real quick. It was against the Bears. It was the Eagles. As mad as I was that season, it was the same season the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Bro, they did the electric slide, and that shit was the crispiest, smoothest dance routine I've ever fucking seen. I saw it, I was just like, you know what, we're down by 20, but I don't care. Honestly, that shit was smooth.
I got one here before we when you guys had one was when that boy Marshawn Lynch would jump into the end zone backwards holding his nuts. That shit was funny.
That was after the iconic earthquake.
Yeah, the beast quake. Dude turns around just.
Another touchdown celebration that's like the opposite of flashy, but you got to put it on the list just because of consistency. Barry Sanders, without failure, just tossing the ball to the ref and turning around. I mean, if he just only did that, sometimes would be like, okay, like, but do something. But the fact that like without failure, the dude scored like 100 touchdowns in his career, and 100 times just here's the ball, go turn around.
You gotta act like you've been there.
Yeah, that's classy as hell.
That's classy.
Gronk spike.
Gronk spike OG.
The Gronk spike Bush. That's a great transition because after many Pro Bowl years, Super Bowl winning years with the New England Patriots, and then recently with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, future Hall of Fame tight end Rob Gronkowski has announced his second and presumably final retirement from the NFL. After securing his fourth ring 2 years ago with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of surprising to me. I was expecting him to re-sign as long as Brady's still there. I was expecting him to still be there, but good for Gronk. The dude's definitely going to make a bag in broadcasting, commentating, podcasting, acting, whatever he wants to do. Gronk is going to make bags upon bags, but Bush, let's hear your thoughts here, because obviously a former tight end, a lifelong New England Patriots fan. I bet I'd imagine Gronk is someone who's always been close to the heart.
Oh yeah. So like basically whenever I, first started playing tight end, my instant thought was to wear number 87. So I wore 87 all throughout growing up, and then finally swapped it in high school. I just stopped, liking the double digit numbers and stuff. But yeah, that's my GOAT. I mean, everybody can have their own opinion. That's my GOAT. I've watched, from his career start to now finish twice. Yeah, now that's my GOAT. There's plays that I can like just recall living in the moment when I was younger. Like I can just see it happening again. Like all the amount of crazy plays he's made. I mean, even some great blocks have been like highlighted throughout his career. That's in my opinion the tight end that can do it all the best. His elite route running, even though he's not that fast. Great hands, great blocker. Just an all-time great dude too. He's funnier than shit. Stupid, down to the trophy because he wanted to take some BP. But that guy's also a genius. Hasn't touched a cent of his football salary. He's only used his money from endorsements and stuff, which will granted they'll make more. But yeah, no, great dude, all around, great guy. That's my GOAT. Rob Gronkowski, thanks for everything, buddy.
fucker's coming back. I don't like. I feel like it's like every time I see Tom Brady retire or talk about retirement, Gronk did the same thing. And then when Tom Brady, not saying he's gonna go to a new team, but when he decides that Tampa is not really his vibe and hasn't decided that he wants to retire yet and go somewhere else, he's gonna open his phone real quick and say, "Hey Gronk, you trying to slide with me? Cause I ain't nobody here. So you trying to play real quick? Just 1 year. That's all I'm asking." He'll be down. He said, "I haven't played football in 2 years. Fuck it. Why not?" Like literally, that's just how I feel like the conversation is gonna go. So all glory. Dude's been great, amazing football player, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Tony G's better. But yeah, I don't see this being the last time we hear about Gronk, honestly.
Yeah, it's already been reported that if that's a big if Tom Brady hits him up in the midseason, and I'm sure if the Bucks are in the midst of a playoff push, trying to get another ring, I'm sure he'll probably come back. It seemed like in his time with the Bucks that he was never really out of football shape, and I'm sure that he's not going to be out of football shape in the matter of like a couple months.
Yeah.
So I agree. He's going to come back at least one more time, make an appearance somewhere. You know, he's that flashy dude.
He just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, if I want to play football, someone's got to sign me. Let's do it.
Can I request to the NFL, maybe once you get done with the Deshaun Watson situation in 8 years, next on your list, could you maybe like put in some sort of rule that if you like officially retire, like turn in the paperwork and everything, there's got to be at least like a year waiting period if you like actually decide that you want to come back. Like fuck all this Gronk, Tom Brady, Brett Favre bullshit where you retire just to fucking get like the pot stirred a little bit and then just come back a couple of weeks later. Yeah, Brett Favre was like retiring every offseason, and then he's like, "Nope, I'm gonna go to Minnesota."
I'm gonna go to Minnesota.
But yeah, no, that's so annoying to me that players can just be like, "Yep, I retire," like turn in the paperwork and everything, and then mid-season like, no, I'm coming back.
Like, dude, just don't play that year. Just
Exactly.
don't play.
Be a free agent.
Be a free agent, and then come back.
Exactly.
You don't have to retire as soon as you're getting an itch, and you're just like, nah, maybe I won't. But then you do.
I bet Tom Brady never even turned in the
Oh
paperwork.
no, he fucking did. I swear. That bitch hates that. Ooh, fuck Tom Brady. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Got DiMaggio riled up.
Any final words?
I mean, can't hate on the dude. I mean, he shit on the Steelers a bunch. So that's about it. But he's a U of A alum. I gotta support the guy.
Oh yeah.
Forever
After,
left his legacy in Tucson. So
After spending some time down at the U of A the last like couple years, you know, just like all the fucking like party scene down there, I can see how well Gronk probably fit in when he was down here.
I was actually gonna say a story that came out a while ago about Gronk before we finish this topic was on his visit. They had a game obviously the next day, so he stayed overnight or whatever. Or well, he lived in Tucson. No, he's from California.
Yeah,
something like that. But he obviously came for an overnight, so I guess he stayed over on Friday. Then the very next day he had to go talk to coaches and all that stuff, and he was just hung 10, man. He was so hungover. I guess he was like I guess he just hung out with football guys, just got absolutely obliterated, and then had to watch the game just probably still stumbling from the night because that man is a partier.
Probably drinking whiskey with Teddy Brucey and Lance Briggs.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Well, shoot. I think this will lead us into our final topic of the day. Pittsburgh Steelers about to be third year wide receiver Chase Claypool recently was on the I Am Athlete podcast. And he said something that raised some eyebrows amongst basically Chase Claypool said that he believes he's a top 3 receiver in the NFL. Now, obviously to the naked eye, that's blasphemy. But we're going to bring you another edition of the Lunch Table Would You Rather. That's still a working title with Chase Claypool. And we've got some other receivers who we're going to compare to. Trev, before we get into this, any thoughts on Chase Claypool's words?
Did you guys actually watch the podcast?
Yeah,
I'm going.
All right. So all the clips you guys are seeing was cut right when he said that, right?
Probably.
Right before Brandon Marshall asked him for his expectations of next year.
Still bullshit.
I don't think that's. I mean, is it a little bit unrealistic? Maybe. But I don't think it's bad to have that confidence.
I don't think you could be a realist when you're a pro athlete like that. I mean, you kind of got to expect the moon.
Brandon Marshall asked him, he's like, "What's your expectations for next year?" He's like, "I want to be a top 3 receiver. I want to be a top 5 receiver. I want to have blah blah and this, that, and the other thing." But everyone's taking it as he genuinely thinks he's a top 3 receiver right now, which I don't think he does.
I think every player should have that confidence. But my first thing would be like, I expect to be a top 10 player next year. Like, I don't think he's been considered a top 20 receiver yet. So to say that I'm going to be a top 3, and that's why we're going to do this. Would you rather? We're going to talk about players that are on that spectrum. But top 3 expectation wise, like, yes, confidence, great. But I can't sit here and be straight faced when he says that.
I mean, confidence is key. Like, granted, like we all play football, so like when you get on the field, you want to feel like you want to literally sit there and tell yourself before you get on the field, I am the best player on the field, and you don't want anybody to tell you different. So that's great, confidence wise. And about that top 20 thing, before we get into this real quick, I think the year that he did have 11 touchdowns,
It was 9.
nine,
receiving,
whatever.
11.
Anyways, I think you could argue that he could have been top 20 then. I don't know.
I think argue maybe still wouldn't be in mind.
I think you can argue it. That's the thing what we're getting into right now. Anyways,
You guys don't think he's only played 2 years.
Yeah.
Going
He's
to
young.
his 3rd year. You guys don't think that he even has the tools to be a top receiver?
I think here's the thing.
That's a completely different
Mhm.
question than what Brandon Marshall
Yeah.
asked him.
Which
Right.
here's
Or what fans are asking.
here's the thing. I don't see him going top 3 because we do have some fucking studs that play receiver
Right.
in the NFL. But I honestly think if he puts, I mean, it's if question is always in sports. I think if the tools around him actually work the way they're supposed to, I think you can argue him maybe being a top 10 receiver with the way he's built and the skills he possesses. I think you could argue him at the end of this year possibly being a top 10 receiver.
I don't think you can make that argument though if he's not even the best receiver on his team.
He was just the least targeted receiver.
See,
on his,
I'll-
not the
I'll
least
say
targeted,
this.
but not the one.
Chase Claypool being 6'5", running sub 4.5. I don't know. It was at least sub 4.5. Yeah, 4.4. Being 205, 10 pounds, having that Megatron-esque build. He's got the potential to be that good. Now, here's the big if he can be that good. It's really more about the quarterback and play. I think that he's gonna have some really shining moments against his teammate Deontay Johnson that we all love, but the quarterback play is really how far you can put yourself up in the top wide receiver rankings, because you need a top passer to get you there.
Right now in the NFL, I would put Chase Claypool as a top 25 to 30 receiver. But if you're looking at just number 2 receivers, I think you could make the case he's a top 10 number 2 receiver. Maybe. I think he has the potential after maybe 2 more years, especially like this year with Juju being gone and him being like the clear-cut number 2. He has the potential to be the Mike Evans to Deontay's Chris Godwin, or the T. Higgins to Deontay's Jamar Chase. Like, he can be a great number 2 receiver, but like, I don't know if he's necessarily in a position to like rise up and be the undisputed number 1. And I don't think that you can put yourself in the top like 5 to 10 overall receiver conversation if you're not like the true one on your team. But there's still so much room to like grow for this guy. I mean, it's not like he's 5 years in and like has barely produced. I mean, a guy who has 2 900-yard seasons under his belt in the first 2 years of his career, that's an amazing start.
He hasn't even had over a 70 reception season at all. I'm pretty sure both of them have been 60 something or less.
I think it was like 62 and the other one was like 59.
Exactly. So he's yet to get that ball thrown to him.
Yeah,
But I mean,
Well,
some of their
well, let's continue.
That brings us into it here. So, first one: would you rather Chase Claypool or Michael Pittman? Trev's going Chase.
I like Michael Pittman.
I like Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
I
too.
love Michael.
They're very
Pittman.
similar players.
Very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah, I'm also choosing Michael Pittman here.
Here's the thing, because that graphic obviously like had Michael Pittman being above Chase. I think that was based on last year, obviously, because Chase didn't have a great year last year, and Michael Pittman came on when he needed to. You know what I mean? Because he was basically that team's one.
Yeah.
I'm obviously a big Michael Pittman fan, being a USC fan, and I've always wanted to see him just tear up the league. But I'm honestly going to take Chase right now. I think if it comes together, I want Chase on my team right now. If it doesn't, obviously, then you'd want Michael Pittman on your team.
I think Chase Claypool has proven to be a slightly better deep threat and slightly more consistent, especially like off rip, like early in his career, he was more consistent and I guess got more looks too. But I'm going to take Chase Claypool, but that one is really close.
I think I'm taking Pittman still because he's still the more refined product.
That's fair.
Like I know, like future wise, but if I'm looking at which receiver I want right now, I think Pittman is a better route runner, has better hands. Claypool is just that he's like similar to how DK is so tantalizing when you look at all the physical tools, but Pittman is refined. He is a good receiver.
About the being refined thing. How do you guys know how long Chase Claypool was in college for? Was it just for 3 years?
I think it was.
Yeah. See, Michael Pittman stayed all 4 years.
Yeah.
So that again, right there shows why he may be more refined in certain other aspects.
And I get that, but
And granted, Michael Pittman isn't. I mean, he's a great athlete. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the greatest athlete out of these two.
yeah,
So being not as athletic as Chase Claypool,
You gotta get down to the
is
technicals.
you got to get
Yeah.
technical. I mean, look at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's not super fast. He's not super tall, but he's the best at what he does.
it's a prime slot.
I was just gonna say, if you look at it, Pittman had a better arm thrown to him. He had less people to compete against, and his stats weren't that much better.
Okay, but you say a better arm, but not necessarily a better quarterback.
Better than an old decrepit Big Ben. The dude
Yeah,
couldn't really get the ball there.
but the
I'm not gonna lie, I don't
the
know if there was any
consensus-
starting quarterback last year who was worse than Big Ben.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the consensus on Wentz is that he was a one and done, and he had that supposed MVP almost season till he blew out his knee, and then ever since then he has been pretty abysmal.
Wentz wasn't a good fit for the Colts, but Wentz is a better fit for just like a receiver who's looking to get the ball than Big Ben in last
Exactly.
year's state. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Big Ben was making throws that everybody knows that. I mean, we're obviously not NFL quarterbacks, but we all know he shouldn't have been throwing the ball there.
Ben tried to throw one game like literally so hard that he like fell over.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to put so much on the ball that he like threw himself onto the ground.
So man, just
Yeah, I mean, I got Pittman, but I get the Claypool.
I think it's a great argument.
All right. I got a bunch of names here, but I'm going to list off the ones who I think are more like similar players first before we get to like the more
Big
abstract
names, yeah.
comparisons. But T. Higgins. I think
T-
this one's a little
Yeah,
easier.
give me T. Higgins.
T Higgins could be a number one on any other team.
Yeah,
I think
honestly.
that he is kind of in the sense how we talk about Jalen Brown being the best number two. Do we want to see him as a one? It's that same situation in Cincinnati, where they've got the one in Jamar Chase, and T Higgins is an absolute monster as a number two, but he could be a number one anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking to Demaji over there. He wasn't really listening, obviously, because I stopped myself because Tice was in a conversation thing. I think any three of those big three Cincy receivers could arguably be a one a lot of other teams. I think Tyler Boyd is a dog. I think
honestly, maybe on the Bears could be a one.
well, that's the
How
Bears.
about Boyd though? How about that one then? Because it seems pretty unanimous.
But-
We're all taking Higgins over Claypool.
Yeah. But before that, real quick, I think Tyler Boyd's a dog. Granted, he's the older one of those three, so yeah, barely. But I personally think that obviously Jamar Chase is one anywhere, basically anywhere he goes.
He's Uno.
He's just him. And T is just another T again has gotten more limelight now and on a more successful Cincy team.
I
That
think we forget that
we can argue
Boyd
too.
was technically
No, yeah,
he
yeah.
won
Boyd-
when Higgins was there. But
Yeah.
when Jamar came, T got more light and
Mhm.
Boyd started to fall off.
Well-
One because he's getting older, and T is just a great
Yeah,
receiver.
but
He is
like I was saying, I do like Tyler Boyd a lot, and I think he could probably be a one a lot of other places as well. Opinions.
So what if it's Tyler Boyd then versus Claypool? Who would you take?
I'm taking probably Claypool.
I think I'll also take Claypool, but I also it's the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. All right.
I guess even the floor.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm quick with that one. I was talking to Trevor about this. Again, USC guy. I'm not even trying to put bias into this. Amon-Ra St. Brown, personally, because of the Lions not having a great year, there were some really, really big, bright spots when they did play. And a lot of the time it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. And so I personally am going to take him now. He's just, again, an insane athlete. And so I'd take Amon-Ra St. Brown right now.
If we're talking like we are right now, if we're talking just the simple fact the wide receiver on the wide receiver, I'm taking Claypool, but I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be a better receiver overall.
Amon-Ra said and done.
Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't have as many physical tools as Chase Claypool does, but when you look at their relative athletic score, both of them are in the high 90th percentile, and they both got sure hands.
Honestly, I like that. I think Amon right now is not better. Like Claypool is better than Amon. I know he had a great end to the season, but he did not have a spectacular full season as it was. Yeah, but when I look at, if I'm looking at their rookie seasons, Chase versus Amon, Chase had a better rookie season. Chase had almost 1,000 yards. Chase had 11 total touchdowns. Amon came on late, but he did not. I think there was injury in the beginning of the season or whatever, but he was not fast to start. Chase had almost the opposite effect: fast to start, slow towards the end.
I think it was week 12 when Amon-Ra finally came onto the scene as him. And as soon as that happened, there was no more slowing down. It was just the Amon-Ra St. Brown show. And literally, the one game that they did win, the teams around. Well, yes.
No, you're completely right. You're completely right. But
the one win that the Lions did have was because of that last final drive that Amon-Ra put down a miraculous performance and did have that game-winning touchdown. So
I mean, I like the agreement of like Amon later in his career, but right now, Chase. I like that.
Right. But that's the class.
All right. How about Robbie Anderson?
Dude, is that even?
I think it's
We're debating this right
Does
now.
Robbie Anderson want to even play football? Let's ask.
Are we really
let's ask
debating
that
this right now?
question. Like I completely get. He's had Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, and a busted Cam Newton throwing him the ball. But does he want to play football anymore? At least we know with Chase Claypool, he wants to get better. He wants to be out there. So Chase Claypool, without a doubt, it's so easy.
I'm gonna take Chase.
I think it's a unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Chase.
definitely-
I think it's closer when you look at like the actual like statistical like factoring that in, but probably doesn't want to play football. Like fuck that guy.
I mean, I feel bad for the dude because the two teams he's played on have just been abysmal. But
Yeah, but DeAndre Hopkins played for the fucking Texans, had Matt Schaub throwing the ball to him. So like
No, I know you feel bad for Robbie because he gets out of New York, out of a terrible system,
bring that motherfucker right.
out of terrible situation with Sam Darnold, and then they just brought him right back because they thought, oh, you
missed him, right?
you got chemistry, you could be great together. No, Sam Darnold is.
Robbie was running from something, and I'm pretty sure it was Darnold.
All right. Devontae Smith.
I like that.
That one's tough.
I think I'm taking Devontae.
They're very different players.
Very
Like,
different.
Like harder comparison.
Very different, but I think Devontae.
Well, are we looking at it as both of them going to be number one? Because I don't know if Devontae Smith's going to be the number one on his new team.
But both of them, I think, are great
I think
number
both
two.
of them are going to be the number 2 this year.
Great number two.
That's true. Okay.
We're debating.
Receiver.
We're debating Chase Claypool going to his third year. If we were debating Chase Claypool, would you rather after his first year, we would take Chase Claypool over a lot of players.
That I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like hindsight is always 20/20 with like after a rookie season.
You just gotta look
Yeah.
at the base of their careers.
I mean,
That's right.
even with this Devontae Smith versus Chase Claypool, I'm taking Claypool. I like the build. I like the speed. I like the verticality threat, being able to catch it above people and go past people. Devontae Smith is way more technical, smarter. I would say he's more en route to being a Keenan Allen type of player.
He fits perfectly at a Z spot. Mike Williams X, Keenan the Z, and then you've got AJ Brown X, Devontae Z.
Oh yeah. All right, the last one, and this one, a lot of these other guys have been like number 2s, like comparing Chase to other number 2s. But so going off of last year, because now technically he is the number 1, Darnell Mooney. Again, very different players.
I'm gonna let everybody talk first because there's gonna be a good amount of bias.
I'm not a Bears fan, but I do like Darnell Mooney.
I'm also a big.
I'm a big believer in Darnell Mooney, and I hope he does do well for these Bears. We'll find out. But it's hard for me to kind of choose, granted, because they're two completely different players. But I guess we can think about this in the situation they're in now. Granted, I think I'm still going to take Chase. I think I'm going to take Chase in this situation just because of the Steelers are trying to, get back into their old ways and being able to throw the ball a lot more than they have been recently. Even though they have Najee, but they can still throw the ball to Najee out of the backfield. I'm going to take Chase now, but I guess at the end of the season we'll look at it again. So,
I'm taking Darnell Mooney. I think that a lot of what Chase Claypool does well, Darnell Mooney also does well, in the fact that Darnell Mooney plays above his size, being able to go get it, and he's faster, and he's just a more technical, more sound route runner.
Yeah.
again, that's kind of the end of the year.
Yeah, this one's tough, but Darnell Mooney did come on like strong at the end of the year last year. What was that one game in overtime where he had that absolute snag in the end zone? Yeah, that was dirty. He definitely has a lot of upside. I think he's a great receiver, but I don't know. I don't want to make that decision. You know what it is.
It's kind of like the same thing for me. It's just I want to see at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a Bears fan, but I'm a Cardinals fan.
You go to the end of the year,
Then we'll find out.
Then
Find
you
out.
get a clear-cut answer.
I think the thing that
I just want to see it play out.
Bears fan or not, I've watched a shit ton of Darnell Mooney. The thing about when I watch Mooney, it's right now it's like watching a Walmart version of Stephon Diggs. Like Stephon Diggs is a great player, top 5 receiver. Darnell Mooney is a very similar play style, just doesn't play at as high of a level yet.
Maybe drop the Walmart to Goodwill for now.
Good, yeah. I'll take wherever you guys want to compare it to. He isn't 1,000-yard receiver in his own right. Darnell Mooney is.
Oh yeah.
He played as a 1A, 1B type because everybody wanted to say he was number 2, but he produced as the number 1 receiver in that system. He did. And so Darnell, I think with the sole share of those targets right now being that guy, the chemistry with Justin Fields, Chase Claypool, you don't know what you're going to get with Kenny Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky. Yes, we'll see. But Darnell's the one. Chase, I personally think is still the 2. Deontay's just a great receiver. I think
we can all agree about that one.
So when if Deontay was the Bears, he'd be Darnell would be the 2 and Deontay would be the 1. But Darnell's the 1, Chase is the 2, so I gotta take Darnell.
That's fair.
Oh yeah.
That's fair.
This is probably the closest one, like in my eyes, that we've talked about yet. Just in terms of like their production is very similar. Darnell Mooney had like a higher production season last year, but also at higher volume. He had like 35 more targets than Claypool did.
He had about like 80 something receptions.
Yeah.
Chase only had 59.
Just over 1,000 yards, like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So they're very comparable, but I just got to go with Darnell Mooney, probably by a little bit of bias. I mean, like that's one of the very few Bears players that I actually fuck with. I mean, like you love those stories of the guys who come from small schools like Tulane. It's like,
Fifth round.
how did this guy slip through every crack along the way? But yeah,
Yeah.
facts. But yeah, no, that one's really close. But it's pretty much a pick your poison. Do you want a big, tall jump ball guy or a more like refined like route running kind of like run after catch type guy?
Yeah.
But,
I like that argument.
anybody else got any other names to throw out there for would you rather with Chase Claypool?
We're talking twos here. Yeah.
I mean, it can be any receiver who you think is comparable to Chase Claypool.
I feel like in the hindsight of things, I feel like when looking at receivers, Corey Davis.
Yeah. I like that.
I know Corey Davis hasn't played to his draft, but production wise, and like I think they're very comparable.
I like that.
So
Here's one that like the more I'm thinking about it, the closer it really is. Jerry Jeudy. Talent wise, ceiling wise, like obviously when they were both coming out of the 2020 class, Jerry Jeudy was way higher than Chase Claypool, but Jerry Jeudy really has not put that much onto the field.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at production and like sample size and just what you've actually seen on an NFL field, Chase Claypool has almost blown Jerry Jeudy out of the water. So I think I have to take Chase Claypool over Jerry Jeudy, which is surprising to say, but like
I agree.
Jerry Jeudy just like, I don't know. He's almost like kind of flirting with a bust label at this point, you know?
Right now, I would take Chase, but Jerry Jeudy just got an absolute slinger.
Yeah.
So
Got himself a-
this is
Yeah.
the year.
Yeah.
This is the year that Jerry
Let's
Jeudy
ride.
has to prove himself.
yeah, this is
Broncos
the make or
country.
break
Let's
year
ride.
for Jerry Jeudy.
funny part is though, they're still going to be compared as Tuesday because Deontay
You can't.
and Chase, but I still think Cortland's going to be the one and
Yeah.
Jerry's the two.
Yeah.
And shit,
It's-
he might be fighting for the two spot with
It's
Tim Patrick,
with Tim.
who went ballistic last year.
It's I agree with Tice. I think it's a great argument here. I like Jerry Jeudy a lot. Like I like that dude a lot.
Yeah.
But I also do like Chase Claypool a lot. So it's a hard comparison here. But yeah, I think I'm also gonna
Situation.
it's just because
So the fact that Chase Claypool overperformed and overachieved and Jerry Jeudy has drastically
yeah.
underachieved, for that fact, it's I got
Brain
to
has
take
to.
I think I'm also taking Chase Claypool here. But again, like Trev said, Jerry Jeudy did just get a fucking stud of a quarterback.
Yeah, you can't count Jerry Jeudy
So
out yet.
I
the potential is.
It's
it's
still-
it's
still
it's another
here,
thing.
And now you have.
It's another thing. It's
I
another
think
thing.
it started here and it's still here. Like he's untapped his potential.
Yeah, I think it's like Madden. He's still sitting there. He's still waiting for his fucking development here.
Yeah, his development.
You know, but,
it's still him.
It's kind of another Darnell Mooney sitch for me because I really want to see these dudes succeed. I think Chase Claypool is gonna. I'd take him now. But future wise, I think I'm going to take Jerry Jeudy because of the fact that he does have fucking Russell Wilson now. Granted, we don't know what's going to go on with the quarterback situation right now in Pittsburgh. Most likely it'll probably be Pickett. I think Mitch is starting.
Yeah.
But come down lane, obviously it's going to be Pickett. They've seen the guy for the last 4 years already. So
One day.
yeah.
One day he'll come.
Yeah. I honestly think Pickett's going to probably start the last quarter of the season, maybe even the last half of the season.
I don't know, dude.
But Money Mitch also hasn't tapped.
You don't know. Yeah, he could be playing good. And
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. It's Money Mitch, Berg, you know. But yeah, all said and done, I think at the end of it all, I'd take Jeudy, but right now I'm definitely taking Chase.
Well, all right. I think that should about wrap it up.
Yeah.
We've had a pretty decent length episode today. Shoot. What number is this episode wise? We're winding down to the end.
19 something.
I think it's 18. Yeah. So two more episodes until the end of season 1.
forward to those last.
Shout out if you've been with us the whole way. But yeah, we will see everybody next week, next Wednesday for another one. Keep on smashing that subscribe button, the follow button on Insta. We got to get Dilly. We got to get Dilly out here.
Get Dilly home, man.
I think we got like maybe 10 Insta followers and 15 YouTube subs to go. So
Get it done.
help us get there. Help us unite each other
The squad
together. Yeah.
The squad.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Unlock that last infinity stone.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you really want to. Comment again, like I said last video, comment or even here or our Instagram about what you guys want to see for maybe these last 2 episodes, or
questions,
or even we can do a little Q&A, or even talk about what we want to see next season. When all the boys will kind of be most likely getting ready to ship out.
Hell yeah.
Be in our own little rooms again.
Fuck, I hate the dorms.
Well, all right. For everyone here at Lunch Table Sports, I'm Big Teist, Broncos country. Let's ride.
That shit's funny.
Text Lily real quick.